Glen Ritter with the Bold North Breakdown here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Got a great show ahead for you tonight. We're going to talk about the Wolves, and kind of break down a little bit about what's going on there. They're on a 4-game winning streak, looking fantastic. Really looking forward to talking about them. They've had a game last night against the Phoenix Suns, a rematch from first round of the playoffs last year, where the Wolves swept the Suns with Devin Booker and Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal. And so far this year, they've had their number again. They beat them down pretty well last night. Got off to a little bit of a rough start, had some ejections, got a little feisty during the game. Both Chris Finch and Jaden McDaniels were ejected from the game. It was Chris Finch's first ejection of his career as the head coach. So we're going to talk about that. Anthony Edwards was just named as an All-Star reserve this year, which is great. Looking forward to seeing him play in that game, exhibition, whatever you want to call it. We're going to talk a little bit about the roster status, some of the injuries. They were without Naz Reid last night, so hoping to get him back tonight, but not really sure. I know they're playing Utah tonight, so that should definitely be another win. Knock on wood. But they had trouble against Atlanta over the weekend, so we'll see how they manage tonight. That game will be starting a little bit later. We're going to talk about the Wild tonight as well. Kind of the week that was for them. They had some good games and some bad games. I thought during last week's show, I was going to be talking about how Jared Spurgeon and Kirill Kaprizov were back from injuries, and how well that they were going to be playing. Well, last Thursday they laid an egg, losing 4-0 to Calgary, and then basically since then they lost another one, beat Chicago over the weekend, but played pretty lackluster, and really got called out by the general manager. And then last night they stepped up their game and beat the Toronto Maple Leafs. They've become road warriors of the NHL. They've got one of the best road records in the league, and we'll talk about that. And then we're going to talk about some Gophers men's basketball. The last couple of weeks I'd been kind of calling them out, and I think 2 weeks ago they heard me, and they ended up beating Michigan in overtime. Then they followed that up with a game win over Iowa in Iowa, which never seems to happen, but they pulled out a great win there. Then over the last weekend, then they beat Oregon at home again, who was ranked number 15 in the country. So things were looking great, but then they rolled into East Lansing to play Michigan State, and things did not go too well for them. So it was kind of a rough showing. Michigan State showed how good they are. But those are all the things we're going to be talking about today here on the Bold North Breakdown on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, single-A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all-brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clanking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the IE Sports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
Welcome back to the Bold North Breakdown here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I want to give a shout out to all of our sponsors. Planet Jerky, I just ordered some, got it over the weekend, and it is fantastic. A great snack, high quality beef brisket jerky. Fabulous product. You got to get some if you don't have any already. Also, Vital Apparel, Seal the Deal Wax Seals, and then our new sponsor, Raw Nutrition Supplements. Go to getrawnutrition.com. Use the promo code IESR for 10% off of your order. Again, as we're in that time where we're all trying to keep up on our New Year's resolutions, keep doing that. Check out those sponsors. Again, they're very they're great to just a great sponsor for us here at IE Sports Radio. So again, check those out. Getting back to the show, really want to talk about get into the Wolves action here here on the Bold North Breakdown here on IE Sports Radio. So after last week's show, I was really down on Julius Randle. He just had not been playing very consistently in my mind from everything that I saw. But since that time, he has really taken a step up. I think he's found a place on the team. He has been kind of a point forward where he's not afraid to bring the ball up the court. But when he brings it up the court, he's bringing it up to set up everybody else and actually initiate the offense. So really in this last 4-game win streak, it's been a pretty good offensive performance. Over the weekend on Saturday, they destroyed the Nuggets, 133-104. It was a great game all around, just passing the ball well. I think looking at my notes here, let's see. Ant had 34 points, 9 assists, was a plus 27 as far as points for and against when he was on the court. It was just named as an all-star reserve again. So definitely looking forward to that too. But just really, Ant here in the month of January has been just amazing, where he's balancing shooting the three with driving to the lane, getting free throws. When he drives, he's able to find guys because everybody double teams him. So they start passing the ball around. It makes things easier for guys like Rudy, Jaden McDaniels, just getting a lot of quick cuts to the basket, easy dunks. And when they're moving the ball, they're playing really well. Julius Randle during that game had 21 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. Again, he's being that point forward, really sharing the ball. Still not 100% sure as to what the future holds for Julius. He's got a $30 million player option for next year, which I think scares around a lot of people that, he's not on an expiring contract if he doesn't want it to be. But so far this year, lately, this past week, he's figured a lot of things out. He's been playing really well. Rudy also had a great game against the Nuggets. He had 14 points, 14 boards, and 4 steals, which if you saw the game, he had a great steal and took it the length of the court for a dunk. It was awesome because he even admitted it. There's an article in The Athletic where he talked about how it's important for him to just play the game of basketball and not think too much. Because I think that there's been that's been one of the things that's plagued them, the Wolves, this season, has been just a lot of thinking rather than just playing the game. And Rudy kind of knows where he needs to be. Last year he was a huge defensive presence. Presence, on the defensive end. They were one of the top defensive teams in the league. Early in the season, they were not very good with their defensive ratings, but have really climbed up quite a bit since then. So let's see other things from that game. Rob Dillingham, the rookie from Kentucky, 8th pick overall for the Wolves, is getting some more playing time with Dante DiVincenzo being out. He had 10 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists against the Nuggets. Really looks the part. He is somebody that can blow past anybody off the dribble. He is just that quick. He's, like I mentioned last week, I think he reminds me a lot of a Darius Garland kind of a point guard. Again, smaller, so who knows how he's going to be able to handle all of those. The beating that he can take. He still needs to work on his defense because there were many times in the games I've watched where he just kind of loses focus of where his guy is going. Sometimes the guy he's guarding is sitting at the 3-point line, and he's slacking off of him, or he plays him too tight and then gives up a back cut to the hoop. He needs to learn about the defense on the defensive end, which all rookies, seem to need to be able to do that in the NBA, because the NBA is so much different than college. So he's getting there, but just the physical talent he has and physical ability is pretty amazing. But overall, that game, they had the Wolves had 71 points in the first half, their highest scoring first half of the season. It was just beautiful to watch. Had 7 players in double digits. They had 16 offensive rebounds. Out rebounded the Nuggets 45-36. So definitely taking care of the glass. So that was, again, it was awesome to see. Then I think the next night they played Atlanta, and Atlanta was just beat up, and they ended up winning by 8. It was a 192. But Atlanta was out without so many of their players. I think they had 7 players of their normal rotation or normal roster players that were out. And when you have that many players out and you're fairly healthy, as a team like the Timberwolves that wants to be have a home court advantage in the first round of the playoffs in the Western Conference, not just in the playoff game, because right now they're in the playoff one of the playoff seeds or games, and they just need to be better when they're playing those teams that are down. It's kind of like the Utah game tonight. Utah is one of the worst teams in the league. There's no excuse. Granted, it was a back-to-back, but they played last night in Phoenix. Now they're going to Utah. Not that big of a trip. And if they do lose this game, it's this can be really disappointing as a Wolves fan. There's no reason for them to lose this game. But the game I really want to talk about, which it was last night against the Phoenix Suns. So for those of you that remember, last year in the first round of the playoffs, the Wolves were matched up with the Phoenix Suns, and everybody thought the Suns were going to win because the Wolves were too young. They hadn't been there before, and they went out and swept the Suns. Fantastic to watch. But one thing that really ended up bugging me as a fan is I think the Suns have some really good players. Kevin Durant, one of the greatest of our generation. Devin Booker, another very, very, very good player. But he's kind of a bitch. I don't know what else to say. I mean, because one of the things that happened during the game, well, a couple of things. Number one, the Wolves did get out to a rough start. I think they were down 59-55 at the half. Third quarter, about 5 minutes left in the third quarter, Wolves are down 72-70. And there was a call that Chris Finch did not agree with, or a non-call that he thought should have been called a foul. I believe it was on both. I think Jaden McDaniels had one, and also or was fouled in the Wolves' eyes and Chris Finch's eyes, but also Anthony Edwards. And Anthony Edwards, we all know he's very much very animated when he doesn't get a foul call. And so Chris Finch was talking to Bradley Beal on an inbounds play. The referee was right there. He must have said something that the referee disagreed with, because he tossed him out of the game right then and there. And when I saw the video, I can't really read his lips to see what he said. But apparently the referee did not appreciate that. So, but it was definitely a catalyst for the team, because they ended up winning 121-113. So since that point, they went on a big run. Some of the key players for the game: Anthony Edwards had 33 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. Again, getting into those higher assist numbers as part of the flow of the offense. They're playing well. Julius Randle had a great game as well. 28 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, one of the key guys off the bench. He is one of the guys that, if you didn't watch the Wolves in the playoffs last year, would have seen how he really got into he locked down and he took it as a challenge to lock down, I think both Devin Booker and Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray in the playoffs last year, when the Wolves beat them in the divisional round or the second round of the playoffs, however you want to refer to that, he was all over Booker, and Booker was Jamal Murray. But it was his defense that was just amazing. Well, this game against the Suns, off the bench, he scored 23 points. It was 5 of 10 from 3. Just amazing. And his defense has been very consistent all year long. He's been one of the most consistent bench players for the Wolves this year. We all refer to him as just NA with his initials, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. But he's definitely been a great addition, great guy to have on the bench. He can play both guard spots. He can play anywhere. He can guard probably 1 through 3 on the defensive end. We can slow down pretty much everybody. He's just relentless when it comes to playing defense. So just a great guy to have on the team. But overall, I think the things that I saw were they passed the ball really well. They had 26 assists. They limited the turnovers. They only had 14 turnovers. Half of them were Anthony Edwards. But that's a pretty good number compared to what it has been this year. I think they've regularly been having about 20 turnovers a game. So being able to cut it down to 14, where you're able to pass the ball, operate effectively on the offense, and not allow quick runouts and fast break points off of turnovers, it's huge in pulling down those wins. But like I mentioned earlier, Chris Finch got ejected in the third quarter, and then towards the end of the game, Jaden McDaniels was also ejected because there was a little bit of some rough play, a little bit, and I think there was a foul called on I think Nickeil Alexander-Walker. I think he might have gotten a foul called on him, and it ended up that Jaden McDaniels and Devin Booker were kind of jawing a little bit. I think Devin Booker was doing a lot more jawing than Jaden was, and Jaden did gave him a little poke to the temple. And after they reviewed that video footage, they ejected Jaden McDaniels. I think both Durant and Booker were issued a technical as well. But it got a little chippy there at the end. But the Phoenix Suns are just one of those teams that I think the Wolves are able to get under their skin because of how they play defensively. Like, they just are not going to back down from anybody. Definitely have that pit bull on a pant leg kind of determination. The Wolves were without Naz Reid last night, which was unfortunate because he was out with an illness. But they did pull out the big win. Tonight they're going to be playing Utah a little bit later on. Can't wait to try and watch that. Yeah, looking forward to that. We're going to take a quick break. You're watching the Bold North Breakdown here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hello, ladies and sinners. Hello, sports fans around the world. Hello, IE Sports family. This is Cale Henderson, the host of IE Vegas, the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio. If you folks are interested in sports in the Vegas area, if you're wanting to have a blast for 1 hour, every Tuesday night from 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, this is a show built for the Vegas sports fans, where we feature the Las Vegas Raiders, the Las Vegas Golden Knights, the Las Vegas Aces, and the University of Las Vegas, Nevada Rebels. Hopefully, fingers crossed, MLB team coming soon. Either way, if you folks are looking to have a blast for 1 hour each And every week, tune in Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you folks are interested in Vegas sports news, go to our Twitter at SinCities_IESR. And you can speak with me, the host, Cale Henderson, at Cale_Henderson on Twitter. At any time, be happy to reply. Always want to reach out to our fans. Again, the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey sports fans, are you in the market for Florida sports or just keeping up with the latest in the Panhandle? Palm Tree Sports is a dedicated audio hub to all things sports in the Sunshine State. We cover current events, big news, heavily favored opinions all across the NFL, NBA, MLB, and so much more. So come check us out every Saturday evening at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. For a down south education on Florida sports and athletics, it's hosted by yours truly, Corey Pujols, and is powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
All right, welcome back to the Bold North Breakdown here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Definitely make sure that you check out those shows, those other shows here on IE Sports Radio. Got some great podcasters from all across the country. A lot of great things going on. Want to chat about the Minnesota Wild. So the Wild have, like I mentioned last week, I was really excited that they were going to be starting to get some of their key players back and being healthy. Jared Spurgeon and Kirill Kaprizov being those players. Both had been battling some injuries over the previous couple of weeks. And so when they came back on Thursday night, the night of my show last week, they were playing Calgary and ended up losing 4-0. Team didn't play very well, as you can imagine when you lose 4-0. And really, sorry, that was the Utah Hockey Club on last Thursday, where they lost 4-0 at home, which is disappointing. The Wild have really had a tough time playing at home. Like they're much better on the road. So they played Utah, lost 4-0. Next over the weekend, then they played Calgary, lost 5-4. But again, really didn't play all that well. Kirill played in both of those games, and then did actually play against Chicago on Sunday, where they ended up winning 4-2. But he just hasn't been the same. So actually right now, then they won 4-2. Then last night they go to Toronto without Kirill Kaprizov because they have decided that he needs to have lower body surgery, and he's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks. So for them to be able to go into Toronto and beat Toronto at home, which has been a pretty good home team, was fantastic. They ended up winning 3-1. They had scored the first 2 goals, gave up a goal, and then scored an empty netter at the end by Marcus Foligno to finish it off. But Kuznetsov scored his second goal. He started off the scoring, and as a fourth line guy, to be able to hit a little one timer, got the puck just got tossed in front of the net. He was there. Nobody was really waiting for him, or didn't really have their eyes on him, didn't have their hands on him, and was able to just get it past the goalie without any difficulty. The goalie really didn't even see it coming because it was that quick. It was just a bang bang play. It was great to see. It's great to see these third and fourth line guys stepping up, because without a guy like Kirill Kaprizov, you need to have some of those guys helping out and doing some big things. One of the players that they've called up, and actually I was just checking the scores for tonight's game, was Liam Ogren, who's a former first round pick, somebody that they wanted to keep in Iowa just to help let him develop. Scored his first goal of his career tonight against Gosh, who are they playing again? Sorry, against Montreal. That's right, Montreal. So I'm definitely going to give some updates on that before my show is done. But yeah, like I said, just Road Warriors. They are 26-2 on the road this year. I think that's the second best road record in the NHL. At least it was going into last night's game against Toronto. So I don't know if if they passed the number one team or not, but definitely playing really, really well. Philip Gustafson was fantastic. I think he had 31 saves or 32. Just gave up the one goal, and he's been playing fantastic. The defense in front of him has been playing really well, especially now that Jared Spurgeon's back. He's an undersized defenseman, but boy, does he play smart. He plays well offensively, defensively. Sometimes gets beat up in the playoffs, and hopefully he'll have an answer for that this year when the playoffs roll around. But one thing that's, I guess, a silver lining to the whole Kirill Kaprizov injury is, and I think it's Bill Guerin has been interviewed on local radio. He won't say what the injury is or what kind of surgery that Kirill is having, but I just kind of feel like it's probably something that as coming back from last year. Last year he missed some time due to like a pulled muscle, I think in his groin area or something along those lines. So he's going to be having surgery, out 4 to 6 weeks. One silver lining to that, though, is that for about 2 weeks here and then coming up, instead of the All-Star game, they're having the Four Nations Showdown, right? I think the Four Nations Face-Off. That's the term. Thank you. And so he's going to the team is off for 2 weeks during that time anyway. So getting the surgery now, getting the appropriate amount of time to rehab and get back on the ice, get healthy. Sounds like he's probably going to be back with about a month to play, maybe 12, 15, 16 games, something like that is kind of what the estimate is as of now. Although they're not going to know until they get in there to have the surgery, and I believe the surgery is going to take place tomorrow. So we'll hopefully have an update for next week's show because Kirill Kaprizov is just a dynamic player to watch, and the way that he plays is amazing. But again, he can only do so much if he doesn't have the support around him. And so it's been a tough couple of years with the Ryan Suter and Zach Parise dead cap hits that they've been dealing with, which will be up after this season. Just kind of hamstrings the team financially because you have to really find some valuable, low cost free agents to fill out your roster and to fill out your lines. They've got a great young farm system. Like I said, they got Liam Ogren, who's up with the team. So now because of the injuries, he's able to play on the second line as the left wing, which is great. He needs as much ice time as he can get. It's a great way for him to learn what's going on and what the NHL is like. And like I said, he scored his first goal. Marco Rossi has also scored tonight, so they're up 2-0 on Montreal. Great to see Marc-Andre Fleury playing in goal tonight in Montreal. That's where he grew up, and this will be his final time playing in that area. So really looking forward to Flower. Hopefully he can maintain this and pitch a shutout. Would be a great way to end his time, play his final time in Montreal against them and for the Wild, because he has mentioned he's going to be retiring at the end of the season. He's been a great addition to the Wild locker room and has been, I think, a great influence to Philip Gustafson. And then the goaltender of the future franchise goaltender, hopefully, is Jesper Wallstedt, who's down with the AHL Iowa Wolves right now. He's like one of the best goalie prospects out there right now. So looking forward to seeing what he can do the rest of the season. Hopefully he's I haven't checked out his numbers with the Iowa Wild, but from everything I've heard, he's been playing really, really well. It definitely has a great future ahead for the Wild. Looking forward to seeing that. I just hope to see them, everybody be healthy for the playoffs, because the Wild got off to a great start this year, but then injuries started taking place. We're still missing Jonas Brodin, and who else is missing? I can't think of. I know there's Marcus Johansson is still out with the concussion after he got that inadvertent elbow from Connor McDavid a couple of weeks ago, or a week and a half ago, I think it was. And but we just need to have some of those guys back. Have been impressed with the top line guys that have been playing right now is Marco Rossi, Matt Zuccarello, and Matt Boldy, Joel Eriksson. Those are the top 4 forwards and have been doing really well. Rossi has really come on a long way from where he was 2 years ago. 2 years ago, there was talk around town that, hey, maybe the Wild need to trade this guy for some assets. He's still young, but didn't see it. He's kind of undersized and really wasn't showing that toughness that you kind of need in the NHL to get into the corners and try to dig out pucks and maintain possession in the offensive zone. But he's really worked hard in the off seasons to get himself back on track and to be in those spots. So definitely worth checking out. I'm hoping to catch up the end of the game after my show here tonight. But check out the Wild. All right, let's take another quick little break. You're watching the Bold North Breakdown here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hockey fans, I'm Adam Kernick.
And I'm Zach Puplis.
Together, we are the newest version of Hockey Talk on IE Sports Radio, The Neutral Zone.
Zone.
We love hockey, but we also know it's not everyone's first sport. So we want to make this show as much for new fans as for the diehards.
Whether you can name all the Swedes on the 08 Red Wings Stanley Cup team, or if you can't tell if Varlamov is a goalie or the latest trendy vodka, we're here to help. With facts, figures, and outrageous fans, we bring you all the hard-hitting hockey news you can handle, while still keeping it fun and on the rails. Well, mostly.
So tune in every week as we go around the hockey world, from college to Canada, the minors and the majors, and everywhere in between.
So bring your cellies.
And your one-timers.
You wicked wristas.
And be sure to protect your 5-hole.
Catch the Neutral Zone every week on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
We promise not to pick on the Arizona Coyotes every episode.
Hey, Cleveland and Columbus sports fans. This is Jen D, host of the Show of the Land on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. If you love Cleveland and Columbus sports like I do, be sure to tune in live to the Show of the Land on Tuesdays, where we will cover the Cleveland Browns, Cavs, Guardians, and Monsters. We will also talk about the Columbus Blue Jackets, Crew, Fury, and of course, the Ohio State Buckeyes. We'll also cover other colleges in the area like Akron, Kent State, Cleveland State, Mount Union, John Carroll, Baldwin Wallace, Youngstown State, among others. So like I said, if you love Cleveland and Columbus sports like I do, be sure to tune in Tuesdays to the Show of the Land with Jen B on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Welcome back to the Bold North Breakdown here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Final segment here coming up, and we're going to talk about the Gophers men's basketball team. Last couple of weeks ago, I was really down on them because I was giving them a hard time that they hadn't won any Big Ten games, and then they really showed me. They beat Michigan in overtime, 84-81. Who Michigan was number 20 in the country at the time. Then they traveled down to Iowa, where they never seemed to win, and beat the Iowa Hawkeyes in Iowa, which again, fantastic. Follow that up with a home win over Oregon, who I believe was number 15 or 16 at the time, and really on a hot streak. You know, they were ready to roll. Like they had. They were playing well. They were distributing the ball. They were hitting outside shots. Again, this team really does have some guys that can hit open jump shots. However, when they played Michigan State, that win streak was snapped. They just really couldn't handle the defense that Michigan State played. They had some guys that were just all the perimeter defenders were just long and quick, and then they had two big guys that totally towered over everybody else on the Gophers team. Really got killed on the offensive glass. It was rough to watch. The final was 73-51, and I don't know that it was really even that close. It was just so tough to watch because they had won those previous three games. They had been hitting some open jumpers. The problem was Michigan State didn't let them get anything, any open jump shots. And playing in East Lansing, the crowd was going crazy. I think I'm not sure how long it was. It was 36-16 at the half. They didn't score much, obviously, in the first half, and it took them quite a while to actually get any buckets. They did do a fairly decent job playing defense against Michigan State. They forced Michigan State into missing a lot of jumpers that I think that they would normally hit, but then they did get they got hot at the end. Jamal Holloway, who's from Minnesota, but chose to go to Michigan State. Really did a number, hit like 4 threes in a row. It was just they weren't even that he wasn't that wide open, but he was just feeling it. They got him the ball. He was just rhythm jump shots and just knocked him down one after another. And there wasn't much else that they could do. So it was tough. But let's see. Let's go back to the Oregon game. Let's talk a little bit about that. So Dawson Garcia was the MVP of that game. So let's talk about the good stuff. Let's go back to that Oregon game. He was scored 31 points, 13 of 19 from the field. That's fantastic. He's been their key player this year. They did have a good contribution from Parker Fox. For those of you that don't know, Parker Fox, I think, is in his 8th year of eligibility or with the Gophers. I Oh, he's going to be pulling Social Security here pretty quick. I don't know. He's been around for a long time, but he did end up with 13 points and 11 rebounds in that game. So he's a big guy, but just had a lot of injuries over his career here in Minnesota. And just a great guy. And that was all in 21 minutes. 21 minutes, scored 13 points, 11 rebounds against Oregon. It must have been a great. It's hard to see some of these games because they're not all televised on our locally, unless you have a specific channel. So I don't have FanDuel Sports North, I think is what they call it, where a lot of the Timberwolves and Wild games are shown. I do have Peacock, so I'm going to be watching tonight. The Gophers women's volleyball team is playing against USC, so I'm going to be checking that out. That's on Peacock. I'm going to check out that game tonight. Looking forward to seeing how well they do. USC is number 4 in the country, but the Gophers women's team is like 18-3, I believe. So they're playing very well as well. So I think they've got a chance to do some things here in the Big Ten. Definitely the best Gophers women's team that I've seen in quite a while. The new head coach has been doing a great job with the team there and things. So I'm not sure what to expect for the Gophers this year. I was kind of hoping that, after they got the couple of nice wins, that maybe they'd get on a little bit of a roll and maybe be able to make it into the Big Ten tournament. Now that's something that not everybody gets into that tournament. I think only the top 15 teams in the Big Ten, which is weird to say that we have more than 15 teams in the Big Ten, right? But yeah, so hopefully they're able to get in. But I know for a while they had the worst conference record in the Big Ten. So it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out. It does sound like their upcoming schedule is going to be a little bit more doable, I guess. I'm not sure exactly which games they've got coming up, but I know that they've got some winnable games. So if they go on a little bit of a roll, start playing like they did against Iowa, Michigan, and Oregon, I think they've got a chance to go on a bit of a run and hopefully make some noise in the Big Ten tournament. They've got some good players. Mike Mitchell's a good. He's got a good jump shot. Femi Odalike is also, I think, a really good player too. He's built very solidly. He definitely can drive to the hoop. Not a very good shooter. I think if I remember right, when I was talking about him a couple of weeks ago, shooting about 37% from the free throw line. So in that game against Iowa, they were totally targeting him. Just following him whenever he got the ball, just to send him to the free throw line. Did fairly good in that game, so he's been working on his free throw shooting. Hopefully that continues. But it's there, and there's another guy. I think there's another Mitchell. I can't remember his first name. Big man, really solidly built, but also has trouble shooting free throws. So I think that's going to be something that Ben Johnson's going to need to work on with the Gophers team is to be able to hit those free throws. Those can be huge down the stretch when you're playing in close games. If you can't hit your free throws, you're going to lose more times than you're going to win. So it's such a basic skill that you would hope that kids that are playing at the Division I level would have an adequate free throw percentage. However, that's not always the case. It's even Dawson Garcia in the game against against Iowa. Yeah, that was another one. As I was watching that game, they had the lead. The Gophers did. Dawson Garcia goes to the line for 2 free throws and misses them both. That could have led to a tie. I think the Gophers were leading by 3 at the time. Could have made it a two possession game. Instead, misses both. Iowa goes down to the other end, misses their shot. Gophers got the rebound and were fouled and then hit some free throws to seal that game and win 77-69. So again, that was the Oregon score. Anyway, but it's the Gophers have some good players. It's just a matter of being able to get them all playing together, really executing the ball, moving the ball on offense. Against Michigan State, it was a lot of side-to-side passing instead of trying to get into the paint and then kick it out, which Michigan State was able to do. But then they also have the 7-footers that can hit threes, and the Gophers just don't have players like that. I don't think they even have a 7-footer on the team, much less one that can hit threes. So when you've got some guys that are big like that, I know that Michigan State just killed them on the glass. I'm trying to remember. I was going to look at the stats, and I don't have that in front of me, but I do know that it seemed like every missed shot by Michigan State, they got the rebound, and it was tough there where they'd force it. The Gophers would force the Spartans to miss a shot and can't pull down the rebound, and instead they're fouling the guys as they grab the rebound rather than being able to get a putback dunk. And then towards the end, it was just a lot of, I think their spirit was broken because they weren't really fighting like that anymore. And there was a lot of putback dunks to finish off that game. I think they did actually battle back, and I think they were within like 13 in the second half against the Spartans, but it was tough. So definitely looking forward to seeing what they can do here next week. I'm going to be talking a lot about that next week. So just remember, I'm going to have a couple of miscellaneous updates for all of you Minnesota fans. Didn't really put anything on the agenda to talk about with the Vikings, but the Vikings did sign Kevin O'Connell to a contract extension to make him the head coach for the Minnesota Vikings through 2029, making $13 million a year. So he was already under contract for next year. So I think it's going to be another 3 years beyond that. So looking forward to that. Looks like Brian Flores is going to be sticking around here in Minnesota. He did not get one of the head coaching jobs out there. The only one that's open right now, it looks like, is the New Orleans Saints position, and he'd never even interviewed there. So looking for him to come back. I think they do still need to get him under contract for next year. So hopefully he gets a nice pay bump. He gets compensated as one of the top defensive coordinators in the NFL, because I think he's earned that. So like I talked about, I think on one of my very first shows, was signing Kevin O'Connell and Brian Flores to contract extensions totaling about $20 million. I think the top pay for a coordinator is about $5 million in the NFL right now. So if he gets that kind of money, then those two combined would be at about $18 million. And I think that's definitely a worthwhile investment for the Wolf family to keep those guys together here in Minnesota. So with that, we're going to start. I'm going to start wrapping up the show. Definitely come back again next week. Going to be talking about next week's updates. We're going to talk about the Wolves. We'll talk about the Wild. See where we're at with the injury updates. See where Kirill's at with his surgery. We'll talk about a little bit about the Gophers. With the Senior Bowl. Going to be taking a look at some of those guys, both the Gophers players and then also potential Vikings draft picks. Definitely want to talk about that. any free agency rumors that start kind of boiling up around early February. Update here on the Wild game. They're in the third period, and Minnesota is up 2-0 on Montreal. So that's another great thing. You're going to keep an eye on that. Let's see what other things. One big thing that you have to check out is here on IE Sports Radio. We are going to have a Super Bowl lineup that is going to run consecutive shows. People from all across the country, starting at 10 a.m. Eastern, all the way up until kickoff. You got to check it out. It's going to be a great show. I'm hoping to be able to jump on as a guest on one of those shows, but I've got some prior commitments in the morning that I'm not going to be able to be on earlier to have my own show. But a lot of the hosts are hosting with other people. They're all going to be 1 hour long. You can go from show to show to show and really check them out on the IE Sports Radio app. Or on our page, YouTube page, X, Twitter, what do you want to call it, Facebook, Instagram, all of those things. Definitely check out those shows. It's going to be a great time on Super Bowl Sunday, even if nobody really wants to see the Eagles or the Chiefs win. But that's just me personally. I would. I'm not a huge fan of either team, and so but I'm still going to watch. We'll see how it plays out. Hopefully, it's a good game. But anyway, so yeah, keep an eye on that. Definitely check those out. Check out all of our pages. Again, check out all of our sponsors. Real Deal Wax Seals, Raw Nutrition, Vital Apparel, Planet Jerky Premium Beef Jerky. That's a fantastic product. Check it out. There's just so many great sponsors here for us. So check those out. Love to have you back. Again, you're watching the Bold North Breakdown, or listening to the Bold North Breakdown with your host Glen Ritter on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Have a great week, everyone.